right, here we're doing topic 7 vocabulary review. You're going to be writing always, sometimes, or never. A fraction can always, sometimes, or never be renamed as a mixed number. And that would be sometimes. For instance, if you have, get a darker color there, sometimes. If you have the fraction 1/2, that cannot be renamed as a mixed number. So you try to look for something that wouldn't fit the always rule. The sum of a mixed number and a whole number is a mixed number. And that is going to always, if you've got a mixed number and a whole number, because there's no other fraction here, you're always going to be bringing that fraction over. So it's always going to be a mixed number. 1/5 is blank used as a benchmark fraction. The book is saying never. I would say sometimes. It depends on how comfortable you are with fractions. But sometimes when we're talking about percentages, because 1/5 when we move on into percentages is 20%, and that is a benchmark. So that's where I would argue that 1/5 and 20% are a benchmark. But the book says never, but I would say sometimes. Equivalent fractions always, sometimes, or never have the same value. Equal fractions are always going to have the same value. Always, always, always. Okay, for each of the terms, give an example and a non-example. So you could have a lot of different answers for this. A benchmark fraction, an example of a benchmark fraction, we could say 1/4, 1/2, 1/3, 3/4. A non-example would be like 1/9 or 1/25, something strange. A mixed number, an example of a mixed number would be any whole number and a fraction. A non-example of a mixed number could be a whole number. Those are not mixed numbers. Equivalent fractions are fractions that are equal to each other. So 1/2 can be equal to 2/4. Take 1/2, multiply it by 2/2, you get 2/4, and so on. A non-example, 1/2 does not equal 1/3. They are not equal to each other. On the next part, draw a line from each number in A to the same value in B. So we have a little work to do here. So we have it for number 8. We have 3 4/9 plus 2 5/6. 9 and a 6. We go through our strategies. They are not the same, so we're going to have to rename. One does not go into another, so we have to find a common multiple of both. You can multiply the 9 and the 6 together and get a nice big number like 54, or you can start skip counting. I suggest skip counting by the larger number, so we skip count 9, 18. Oh, and when we get to 18, we know that that's a common multiple. And to get from a 9 to an 18, we multiply by 2/2. So 4/9 becomes 8/18. And to get to an 18 down here, we multiply by 3. So we do 3/3. And 15 plus 8. So we have 5 and 23/18. And we're going to take this improper fraction. And 23/18 is going to equal 1 and 5/18. 5 plus 1 and 5/18 is 6 and 5/18. So we've got number 8 done. A lot of work, I know. Number 9, the whole number 7 minus the fraction, the mixed number 2 2/3. Remember, we always have to, I like to change my color on this. We always have to borrow when we don't have a value to subtract from. So 7 is the same as saying 6 3/3. So now we can subtract 4 1/3. There we go. Number 10, 4 1/2 plus 1 1/6. Denominators are different, but 2 will go into 6, so I can leave that fraction alone. And I only have to rename this one. 2 times 3 equals 6. 1 times 3 equals 3. We're adding 5 and 4/6. 4 sixes is got 2 even numbers, so I know I can reduce it to 2/3. So my final answer is 5 2/3. There we go. And for our next one, 11, 7/12 plus 5/8. Again, denominators are different. 8 won't go into 12. Start counting by 12s. The first number you hit that 8 will go into is 24. So I can rename this fraction, rename that fraction, and I have 29 24ths, and I can see there it is right there. I know a lot of work to review, but if you can do that, you can get an A on the test. How can you write a fraction equivalent 60 over 80 with a denominator that's less than 80? You can, this one's, remember from early on, we can actually just chop off, we're dividing this by 10 over 10 and get 6/8. And there's a denominator less than 80. And that's our vocabulary review.